Hey, CrossFit Edo. So I'm sitting here eating breakfast and I'm reading that article on knees outedness. And I wrote a really long email, I'll show you, but I figured it would be easier to just make a video real quick. So first, let me be clear here. I am going to readily admit that I am a huge Mobility WOD fanboy, and that's a full disclosure thing. But I think what's really going on here is that it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the knees out cue is. So here's what I wrote, and I put this in my email. So here, bear with me. But I don't know if you can read this, but essentially what's going on at the knee is inconsequential, and that seems to be what the anti-knees out people are focusing on. The only thing that matters is what's happening with your hip, right? Are you creating external rotation of the hip? So one of the things I guess I made clear, but it's really easy to forget, is that knees outedness, right, starts at the setup. It starts before you ever start the squat. By standing up, squeezing your butt, and rotating your hip, rotating your femur through the floor. Now your leg is connected to your knee via your leg, right? So your knee is connected to your hip via your upper leg, your femur. So if you're driving the knee out, what we're hoping is really happening is that you're fully externally rotating the femur. Now if you squat and you're just driving your knee out and not rotating the femur, which is the important thing, not the knee, right? Yeah, you're going to create a varus force, and a varus force is effectively like bow-leggedness, where your legs kind of bow out. So again, the knees out is not what's important. Femur rotating is more important. You can just see that when you're cueing somebody and you're thinking of something really quick, saying, rotate your femur, is a little less obvious than knees out. So the knees out cue is only supposed to cue the rotation of the femur. So let me back up a step by saying that the rotation of the femur is everything. That's how you wind up your hip, and that's how you create stability. So really quick, I want to show you, this is literally here, I'm going to go through my steps here. Hold on, let me back up in my web browser. Oops, too far, don't want to go that far. Okay, so here is Google, and I'm going to Google Indian, nope, didn't work. Well, fuck it, I'm just going to type it and then I'll show you. Hold on. I Googled Indian squat, right? Can you see that? Indian squat. And then my favorite picture, where was it? Just because these guys were doing this guy. Let's look at this guy for a second. And look at his external rotation of his femurs. His feet are flat, right? His knees are out, his hips at his ankles, right? And his feet are pointed out maybe 10, 12 degrees, right? But you can see the external rotation. Again, I have no idea what's going on here, but what's important here is you see that his knees are way out, his feet are flat. The only reason I didn't do Thai squat is because it showed a bunch of toilets. So I don't know what that's about. But that's some people squatting. That's not Olympic lifting, that's just raw squatting. So it has nothing to do with powerlifting versus Olympic lifting. It has everything to do with mechanics. So I think, again, this article, the fundamental misunderstanding that the knees out, anti-knees out people are saying is that they're too focused on what's going on at the knee. That what the knees out, the pro knees out people are trying to say, and I think here's a quote from Roop, when an athlete from the initiation, which is what I said from the setup, when an athlete from the initiation and throughout until the bottom of the squat is pushing their knee out, they are not actually creating a varus force, a bow-legged force. What they are doing is flexion, abducting, and externally rotating the hip, which allows the athlete to return to squat to depth. And that's really the big difference. Again, it's about what's going on at the hip, not the knee. So the one other quote, which I like from the guy, I forget his name, DiGiorno or something like that, said, shitty CrossFit coaches think that no matter what the position and alignment of the leg during the squat might be, the answer is knees out, which is basically not creating external rotation at the hip, but just trying to drive the knees out, which probably causes you to roll on the sides of your foot, which is not what we're going for, right? Foot flat. But you're lacking ankle range, so you're pulling the ankle to the side, which is, again, not what we want. So that's really the difference, is that you need to set up with full external rotation, and then what I cue a lot is chase the torque out. So you're creating that torque through the foot right? Like that torque through the femur, and then chasing it out and never losing it, always maintaining that torque. So again, it's a setup issue. It's a setup and maintaining issue, like Roop says, not a knee out for the squat, a bow-leggedness issue. So you should be able to keep your foot flat, big toe on the floor, right? Foot flat, knees out, right, via external rotation of the femur. Not knees out for knees out sake, but creating torque at the hip, at the setup, and then maintaining it through the lift. So to answer your question really quick, Eli, I think the reason your back is hurting is because you're losing your hip. Like, send me some videos, and I can tell you what's going on. I can't guess. You're a lovely writer, but you're not as expressive enough for me to watch you squat. So send me a video, and I'll show you. And what I will bet you is happening is that your hip, right, is tilting forward, which is jamming up in your QL and your lower back. So keeping your butt tight, keeping your hip neutral, and driving your knees out is important. So anyway, I hope that kind of helps. I hope that answers some of the questions. But sorry for the crappy video. I'm eating breakfast. All right. If you have any questions, again, send me videos if shit's hurting or you think shit's going wrong. I'm happy to help. But it's tough for me to just kind of assume based on a text. So anyway, send me an email, send me a video. I'll try and get back to you. Hope it helps. Bye.